www.mcprodnet.com/Average Joes and leave some feedback. And now your host, Nate Manier.
Hey, Nate, can you hear me, Nate?
I can hear you, Merle. I am here and I am ready to be on the internet.
All right. Well, so I'll turn this down a little bit more. There we go. All right. Hey, guess what, Nate? We're live. We are live on what my mother would call the Facebook.
The Facebook, like the Ohio State University.
Just like the Ohio State Buckeyes, yes.
Be careful, dude. Facebook will get you with the. Too many does. So, Merle, how was your 4th of July?
Hey, it was fantastic. You know, my brother was in town from Lawton, Oklahoma with my little niece, and she's 9. She's cute as a button. She calls me Uncle, Nate. That's all she calls. She goes, Uncle, Uncle. And she calls her Nate Auntie. Auntie, Auntie. Cute kid.
Nice. Uncle and Auntie. I like that.
Yep.
That is, are you guys her only aunt and uncle?
No, but I think we're the ones who see her the most. So, you know, there's that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. I cried this weekend because just as she was leaving, you could see she was trying to hold back tears because she didn't want to go. And I looked at my little 9-year-old's face and there was a crocodile tear. And I was trying to be a bigger man because, you know, I'm a man, right? She's 9 and I'm 48. And I tried to suck it back, but a little tear rolled down my eye.
Dude, you're 48. That means you should be more emotional. You've experienced more life. There's no shame in crying.
Absolutely not. But I still got challenged. I'm still growing, Nate. And you know, ever since I had my child, I do get emotional a lot more. I'm sure you're the same way with Mary Ellen.
I cry 3 to 6 times a day, minimum.
Full out Oprah ugly cry.
Yeah, and some of that is good and some of it's bad. Like, oh my gosh, why won't she just leave me alone? No, never. No, man, you gotta, you know, you as a man, you gotta get emotional. You gotta get in there and, you know, deal with those heartstrings and tug them the right way. Yeah.
I tell you, you're right. The older I get, the more emotional I get. I mean, I cry during movies. I think it all started when we had, you know, a child, and I used to be a rock, Nate, but now I'm just a blubbering baby.
Well, I mean, you don't want to be a blubbering baby. You can just say I man cry. You know, I'm not.
I'm being truthful. Hey, it's a new me, right? I'm just going to full disclosure, right? That's the new thing now. Full disclosure, full crying out, what Oprah would call ugly cry. I mean,
dude, I love that.
When I try to hold it in, you know, you're sitting on the couch. Renee's over there watching a mushy movie, and she's not phased. You know her. She's a rock, Nate. I'm trying to hold it in because she's got it all together, and I'm like. So
yeah. when you guys had your child, she got a little bit more gangster.
She did. She got full blown gangster. You know her.
Got softer.
Yep. That woman's hard, man. She'll cut you, Nate. She'll cut you. You know.
She'll cut you.
She babysat you. You know the deal.
Dude, she used to lay the law down like it was nothing.
Put the smack down.
We should send Renee to like any problem neighborhood in the world, and she'll whip him into shape.
Yeah, that's funny. So it's Nate. It's been a while.
It has been a while. It's been a couple of years since we've been able to get together.
I know, it's crazy, and it just seems like yesterday we kicked off Average Joe's, and we were doing pretty good, but life gets in the way, right?
Yes, you know, you start crying, you have children, and you know things just happen. You know, my beard got a lot grayer, and
right,
you know, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, mine too.
But we are back with a vengeance, and we are going to, you know, try and be as weird and as fun as possible.
Right. And the good thing is, you know, I think right now our platform is just Facebook. For a long time, we did podcasts and we did have downloads. I mean, it was at one time, Nate, I looked and we had like 800 downloads. So we were doing pretty good. But
yeah. And you know, hopefully we can, you know, stay diligent and get back to where we can have a couple different platforms where people can listen.
Right.
So, but yeah, you know, the majority of people have Facebook, whether or not they use it or not, they can at least tune in and make fun of, you know, me and you crying on each other's shoulders.
Right. And John, when John, don't label me Hennahan, joins us, we'll leave.
Yes.
We won't pick on John. He's not here.
Our third, that's the best time to pick on someone. Our third co-host, John, you know, doesn't want to be labeled, which is fine, but that in its own is a label.
That's right. That's right.
So how about just, you know, I don't know, John, you're getting labeled.
John, you're getting Exactly. That's right. Suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah. So 4th of July, we did some cooking out. We went swimming and did some fireworks.
Nice.
Had a funnel cake. That was always fun.
Cakes are good.
Yeah, just took some time to kind of reflect on, where we are as a nation, where we've been, where we're going, and the people that have, made that possible. And, just grateful to live in the greatest nation ever to exist.
Yeah. Right. And Renee, I like the way when Renee talks about it, right? We really did hit the lottery of life. That's what she calls us, being born, right? The lottery of life. We're fortunate.
Well, we were born on a certain patch of dirt that affords lots of benefits.
Right.
And you can't, you can complain about some of the things that, socially or politically, but at the end of the day, man, you're not running for your life. We got clean water. We got food everywhere.
Right.
And it's great. And we got to be better at counting our blessings and trying to focus on the positive, even though the negative is what content drives and what people want.
Sure.
I was reading last week about the Facebook algorithms, and the more, you notice on your feed, the same kind of people, the same kind of things show up, and, they send you negative stuff. So if you're commenting, if you're always arguing about abortion or Black Ariel, and you're constantly being driven into that, then that's all Facebook's going to send you. So I've been kind of testing it out the last month, and I've been trying to comment on cute animal videos and, just different cooking shows and stuff like that. And it pops back up. I'm starting to get less of the negative, in your face debate arguing. And so I mean, kind of in that sense, I understand how algorithms can be good, but we got to be careful because, it's so easy to get drawn in and sucked into the arguing culture. It's kind of scary.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, and that's I like your posts on the Facebook. Every once in a while,
I called it that.
you'll say go hug someone or be the best you can be, people, or positive stuff. And I think John agrees. We need more of that. And you're right. We focus way too much on the negative and our differences. Let's start focusing on the positive and what we have in common. Right.
Yes, I would say that 95% of us agree on 90% of things in life. We love our family. We love our friends. We kind of just want to be left alone. Don't persecute people. Don't tax me too much. Give me my privacy. People agree on a lot of things, but it's that 5%, that little margin that, keeps people fighting and keeps people arguing.
Right. It's funny you bring that up. I am on the Facebook. I'm a member of a group called the Pink Pistols, and it's a Second Amendment advocacy group. Is that advocacy group?
There you go.
For the LGBTQ plus community. Yeah. And I thought it was a very interesting group to join because even though I'm what I consider a fairly conservative Christian libertarian, I think the Second Amendment applies to everybody, right? Especially a community that we'll call, I don't want to label them, but we'll call them a community that is at risk, right, of possibly being harmed or hurt for their way of life. And I think whether I agree with their lifestyle or not, they should be able to defend themselves. And the admins took 24 hours off and said, okay, guys, I've had a lot of snarkiness that I've been, moderating. I'm going to give you 24 hours of what you want and watch how quick this group disintegrates. And 8 hours ago, 100 members had already left, and people are slinging back and forth. The gay community is talking about white heterosexual males who are, just disgusting. And then people are throwing back in their face how, their lifestyle is a sin. And that group has just disintegrated. And within the last 18 hours, it's kind of depressing.
It is. And, that's intersectional politics is a term that, I came to, kind of discover over the last year and a half, 2 years. And, it's this thing where it's, you got gay people, the gay community who, they're told that they're anti-gun when the fact is, you've got a lot of gay people who carry a gun to protect themselves.
Right.
But, you have to align yourselves with certain segments. And if you're Black, you have to think this way. If you're Muslim, you have to think this way. If you're, gay. And so when you start, actually talking about different ideas, people within your own group, you find out, oh, everybody thinks differently. And, they're not all the same. And we shouldn't judge a book by its cover because, it just, that's the way it works. People think and believe differently, regardless of the color of their skin or their sexuality or their religion. And, right. But when you try and put people in this box, it becomes it just becomes a platform for them to keep dividing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of sad, really.
It is kind of sad. And, it's something that I cry about every night, and I'm sure you do too.
Absolutely. Being the in touch with my feelings kind of man I am. So,
yes.
So let me ask you a question. We were talking about this a little bit earlier because I'm going to speak truth here, right? I've been on the fence about the women's soccer team because, again, I think we focus so much on the negative. And when they came out, and I'm not a huge Trump fan, right? But I mean, the guy does some good, the guy does a lot bad. But the women's soccer team came out, and a lot of them said, if they win is it the Women's World Cup?
Yeah.
That they won't visit the White House. And I'm like, that's kind of sad because the White House is so much more than a person. So I'm like, there was a part of me that, and this is un-American, but a part of me that was like, I kind of hope you lose because you're representing the United States of America. Right. So I think it's your privilege and honor to visit the White House should you be invited, because as much as I'm not a fan of the previous president, also Barack Obama, had I done something great and been invited to the White House, I would have went, because to me that was an honor. So what are your feelings about that?
They're soccer players, and I don't care about their politics. I was rooting for them to win because they're America, and I had heard the argument of wanting them to lose because they're being too cocky, or but we're America. That's what we like, our athletes cocky, and we like rubbing it in people's faces, and we like winning. And I could care less if they want to go to the White House. I was still rooting for them to win. I think we have this notion that we want us all to get along, and we want us all to be able to come together for the ultimate good, if you will. But the fact of the matter is some people don't, and there were people that didn't want to visit the White House when Obama was there, and they didn't. And the kind of the liberal left side would get mad and say, "Oh, you're not just visiting because you're making it too political." And we crossed that threshold when people started boycotting when Obama was in, and now we got people boycotting when Trump was in, and it's just going to be a back and forth. And the Democrats are going to win the presidency again. It's going to happen. If you look at American history, we go kind of 8 years Republican, 8 years Democrat, and back and forth. So rather than, finding this common ground that we can all say we're Americans and we're all proud and we all want to, make our countries proud. Visit the White House. Sure. Just because I go to visit now you got this thing where if people visit the White House, they're endorsing Trump.
Right.
It's not that. You can still disagree with the president and still kind of go and, do a service to the country and do your thing. But if you don't want to go, then don't go. That's perfectly fine. We kind of messed up when we've let politics enter every single aspect of our lives. And, growing up, you didn't discuss politics. You didn't discuss politics, and you didn't discuss religion. And I would always wonder, like, man, why do people, refuse to talk about those things? Well, fast forward 20 years, and I kind of see the results of that. Now, like every culture and every society, I think it's good that we discuss that because we're going to eventually grow and, have new ideas. But man, I could care less. It's the same thing with Colin Kaepernick. People say, oh, he's he's doing so much good. Okay, cool. But, he was a football player, and whether or not he's a spokesperson for the downtrodden, okay, cool. But I don't care about his opinions just because he had a social platform. And I think we got to be able to separate the two things there.
Right. So let me ask you this. You bring up a good point. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but it seems like today in society, we put so much emphasis on what people like athletes or actors or people we see on TV and what they say when it comes to politics. And a friend of mine at work, we'll call him James. He said one time, he's a historian. He said, there was a time in this country that we looked upon those folks, specifically like actors and actresses, as pretty much like one level above prostitutes. But today we put them on a pedestal and we think what they say is gold. Why do you think that is? I mean,
I don't know. That's kind of a deeper issue, I think. Because when you, like for me, when I see the Avengers, I see Captain America and Iron Man and Hulk. And growing up, those are my heroes. You grow up watching them comic books and seeing them. And, since, the invention of Twitter and Instagram and hold on one second, Peter. We have this insight into people's lives. And then when we find out, okay, we don't really agree with them, we kind of get mad, boycott this movie because this person said this. Well, I mean, why? What, you're surprised that a Hollywood person thinks differently than you, that Hollywood is more liberal? Everybody has known that forever. But now that we can actually have insights and have them talk to us directly, we're basically saying, we've all known this, but now we have confirmation of it. And, it is what it is, man. I don't know. It's just weird, dude. Everything's so driven through politics now. And it's like, hey, I like this athlete. Well, did he vote for Trump? Because if he didn't, then I don't like him.
Right.
Well, I like this actor. Well, is he pro-choice? Because if he's pro-life, I don't like him. So it's weird that we can't distinguish the fact. Everybody understands that we all have different opinions.
Sure.
We all think differently. But yet when we kind of hear different opinions, we get all, butthurt, and we don't know what to do or how to handle it. So right. I think it's just, the internet, and Jack Dorsey has talked about this, the guy who invented Twitter.
Right.
Because, Twitter is crazy, man. It's like, it's just nuts. And I've kind of gotten away from Facebook over the last year, and to get away from the negativity. And dude, I've been on Twitter more often, and it's 10 times worse, but it's a lot funnier. So you got to kind of take the good with the bad, but everything's so driven and everything's so divisive. But yeah, Jack Dorsey, the creator of Twitter, he said he had no idea that it was going to turn into this, and if he knew, he wouldn't have created it.
Oh wow, right.
Because it's become such a different thing than what he intended.
Right. Yeah,
and we're social media and the internet. We're 15, 20 years into this thing,
right?
And it's still in the baby steps, and we're kind of learning how to communicate. You can make a comment online to somebody and they get offended, and you've been friends with this person for 20 years, and right. It's like, man, I was just joking, but it's hard to tell sarcasm through broadband.
Right. Well, and I like what Thomas Jefferson said. He said, I never consider a difference of opinion in politics, in religion, and philosophy as cause for withdrawal from a friend. But today there are people, there are family members who won't talk to each other because they've got a difference of opinion. And that just didn't happen over the last, 3 years while Trump's been in office. And I think that's been gradually occurring over the last, probably since around the time that social media started really kicking off, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. And that's kind of, you think about America, we were in a weird place, 10 years ago. We had, our first black president. We had social media, which none of us intended on it becoming this. And then all of a sudden, after 8 years of Obama, then the kind of the love affair that the country had with him, then you get this guy coming in who kind of is going to ruffle some feathers and, do some things differently. And man, it just kind of got weird. And I think, unfortunately, for the next few cycles of, president elections, it's going to take us a while for us to realize, they don't care about us. What George Carlin said, it's a big party and you're not invited.
Right.
So, it's the team mentality, man. It's the same thing we were talking about when we first started doing Average Joes. People get on this team and, my team's the best. Republicans complained about the deficit for years. Oh, look how much money Obama's spending. And then Trump gets in office, and these same people, they're zipping up the lips.
Yep. No big deal. Not talking about it. It's okay.
Well, Trump tripled the deficit. Well, that's because, he's got to spend some money to make money. Oh, okay. All right. Got you. Right. Yeah, man, it's just kind of weird. So that's why I don't mind being labeled, just kind of like a libertarian, do unto others and do what you want as long as it doesn't hurt somebody else,
Right.
Jump on, John. Stop being a dork.
Right. So when do you think the libertarians are ever going to take off? This two-party system's got to go.
It is, and it's getting better. I think, me and some buddies were discussing this at lunch today. Forever it was ABC and CBS and NBC, and we just had to take their word because it was the newspapers and the magazines, and we didn't have any. And then that's a good thing with social media is we start finding out like, oh my gosh, like we're not all as different as we think. And we all can acknowledge that government is bad. And, you got these candidates coming out with kind of different, even Andrew Yang, someone on the Democratic platform, he's at least putting out new ideas that are more, that are kind of against his traditional party platform. Ron Paul did that for years within the Republican Party. And I think we're within, I would say in the next, 12 years, next couple presidents, I think we would, and maybe even sooner, because, things change at a drop of a dime now because of social media. And I think we're not too far away from getting a libertarian candidate in there who, the classic libertarian meme of, we want to take over the world and leave you alone.
Right.
And not to say that they don't have their own problems. Some libertarians are too passive, some are too whatever it may be. But that's the cool thing is I still love you. As long as you're not hurting someone else, to do what you want, man.
Right. Yeah. So speaking of that, let's talk a little bit of Ohio. Ohio finally passed recreational use of marijuana.
Look at Ohio jumping on board.
Jumping on board the pot bandwagon.
When did that happen?
Wasn't that about a year ago or so?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really?
No, I was not aware of that. I thought that they did the medical thing on the ballot or something.
Yeah, that's what it was for medical marijuana.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, did I not say medical marijuana? Did I just say recreation? Did I say recreational? I might have said recreational. Yeah, I meant medical. That's right. Yeah, okay. My barber next door to my barber, there's a big sign that says, get your Ohio medical marijuana card. A lot of traffic.
That's right. I'm sure that business is doing lots and lots of work. And what's funny is John, I call him Boner. It's not Boehner, dude. Stop lying about your name. For years that dude sat in Washington, D.C. and campaigned against legalization of marijuana because it's going to make everybody drug addicts and everybody's going to go crazy. And then this guy gets out of politics, and the first thing he does is he gets in bed with the marijuana farms. Yeah, so now he's one of the funders, one of the people running this, and it's just like, dude, you're like, and I think like stuff like that, people are starting to realize more. Like, man, you guys are all just full of it,
right?
And I think that's why we'll eventually, I don't think we should have a president anymore. Like, just the thought of one person kind of being in charge. I think we should have like a Knights of the Round Table thing.
That'd be kind of cool. I think I would actually run for one of those positions.
Yeah, let's elect like 12 people, 13 people, because it can't be even.
Right. And can I have a sword?
Can you what?
Can I carry a sword?
That's mandatory. Yeah, you got to have a sword. Either a battle axe or a sword. But I think that we should kind of do away with the idea of one person who's going to be in charge, because when we do that, you're going to make 50% of the nation pissed off for 8 years, and the other 50% are going to make excuses.
Right.
And then we're just going to flip. So if we have, 7 people in there that we all vote for, then when the country keeps doing weird things, we can't just point the finger at one person. And, asking Barack Obama to keep his finger on everything is impossible. Asking Donald Trump to do that is impossible.
So you think the co-equal branches of government have failed us?
I'm not going to say it's failed us. I think that the Supreme Court is still a beautiful thing. But, if Congress, like the Obamacare, went to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court said it's a tax and Congress is allowed to issue taxes. And if you guys want to, change that, then I suggest you vote in new congressmen. And that's just the problem, man. Nobody cares enough to do that. I mean, these guys sitting there for years, and because we still have grocery stores full of food, and the Buckeyes play every Saturday, and
we're happy.
We're happy and we're good. So
unless we're on the Facebook, and then we blast, right?
Right. And it's funny because I thought of a game show that would be funny if you took, people on Facebook that just say the meanest, most rude, ugly things to each other. If you go hunt them down and, make them face off face to face. I mean, just how awkward it would be, because nobody's going to be that mean. You're never that mean to somebody in real life.
Right.
And you would never say that. So then you're kind of forced to sit down and talk. And then at the end of it, you're like, oh, okay, well, we kind of disagree, but we actually agree on a lot of things.
Right.
And then
so
you give each.
Like, go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, go ahead.
Oh. It's kind of like, did you see, I don't know if it was on YouTube or what, but they sat down, I think it was a priest. I don't know if he was an atheist and a, what do you call a Jewish?
A rabbi.
A rabbi. They sit down, they smoked a joint or a bowl together and had a discussion for about an hour.
I did not see that.
I'll have to send you that link. It's quite funny, actually. It's
nice.
But they got along. So
yeah, and we do, man. It's just, but COINTEL is a real thing, and people put out divisive things from their own side. It'd be like if you went into your house and you said it just started infighting for no reason, knowing that you just need to create some ad revenue because you need clicks, and it's just kind of a weird thing that we're going to have to eventually learn and eventually, see how it's controlled. So
right.
I don't know. The internet gives you what you want. And if you want negativity, it'll give you that. And if you want positivity, it'll give you that.
Right.
But yeah, man, that's kind of I don't know. I think things are getting better, but who knows? It's so weird, but it's also so fun. I love it. It's like, what a time to be alive.
I know, right? Yeah, I took a break for a long time. I'm still not listening to talk radio because it just gave me a headache. And, I don't know. Was I on blood pressure medicine the last time we talked on average?
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah, I'm on blood pressure medicine now. So I'm like, I'm sure it has a lot to do with, my lifestyle, but I've started spinning on Tuesdays and Thursdays and, trying to take, watch what I eat. But yeah, I'm trying to get off the blood pressure medicine, but I think a lot of it had to do with, talk radio and the in your face.
Yeah, it's, it was crazy forever. I would listen to all that stuff, all the political podcasts, and I just got away from it, man. And it's so much better to, I listen to the Joe Rogan Experience, and I listen to Chris D'Elia's podcast, but mainly comedy, just because they're so funny. And, laughing is so much better than stressing about something.
Right.
And I don't know. We all got caught in that whirlwind of debating and arguing. And then when you take a step back and you kind of, get away from the Facebook and the social media and just kind of pick up a book or go visit a friend or something, man, you realize it's so much better.
Right.
But it is what it is.
Right. So, hey, how about those Bengals? What's going to happen?
Oh gosh. Well, I think we're going to have another rough year. We got a new coach. We got a same quarterback, which is a problem. Our first round draft pick, our left tackle, got injured. But the Bengals started off good last year. They started off 5-2, started off strong, and then we had some injury problems. So we got a new coaching staff and some new players, and we'll kind of see what happens. But I'm not like crossing my fingers or holding out hope for anything. Excited for the Buckeyes. That's always nice.
Do we know is the kid from he went from Oklahoma, from Georgia, is he going to be the starting quarterback? He's able to play, right?
Yes, Justin Fields. He will be our starting quarterback, and he's going to, give Jim Harbaugh a little bit of
that kid's amazing.
Just some sadness, and I just love that Michigan hasn't beat us for 8 years now.
Yeah, they showed a picture. It was I love social media just for because people are creative. They showed the graduating class this year from that school up north, and they said, "Do you realize that none of these kids have ever seen their university beat Ohio State?"
Yes, and that's the way it should be, because although Michigan has amazing vacation spots and great lakes and beautiful weather during the summer, right. They have arguably one of the most weak, just very sad, disturbing football programs ever, and just athletics in general.
Right.
So I can't, that's one thing that politics aside, if my if I was getting ready to get married and my fiance said, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm a Michigan fan," I would seriously have to, consider, first of all, how I didn't know that beforehand.
Right.
And just, no, I'm just kidding. I love Michigan. There are lovable losers, and without them, we wouldn't be, feel so good about ourselves.
Yeah. Well, in their defense, they have beaten us more than we've beaten them.
Yes, in the past, like 100 years ago.
Well, but so, I mean, at this rate, we're going to catch up very soon and surpass them.
Yes, they used to beat us back in the 30s and 40s, when, it was just a bunch of like plumbers running around.
with leather helmets?
Yes, exactly. The old leather helmet football player, the old-timey football player.
Right. That's fun.
Yeah, man. So football season's coming up, college football. Pretty excited about that. I want to talk about something. First of all, ask Nate anything within reason. You can ask me anything and take all of the reason out of it. That makes it even more interesting.
Okay.
Makes it more exciting.
We're a family show for the most part. So I was.
Oh, we are?
We're kind of family friendly, I hope. That's
Yes, I've been trying to make sure I don't say any, watch my language and don't say anything too crazy.
Right.
We'll have to maybe on, Friday nights we'll do like Average Joe's After Dark, and
there you go.
We'll let all the adult content just fly out of our mouths.
Yeah, right. I can play some of those tracks I was playing earlier before we went live.
Yeah, we'll get Renee to do an intro. More, I don't want to say sexy, but I already did. So just like a Average Joe's After Dark.
Oh man, that would be kind of scary.
Yeah, man. So what else has been going on, Mr. Merle?
Yeah, in life here, really, that's about, it. I mean, it's not really been a great pool year, but I don't know the last time we talked live on Average Joe's. I was struggling for a few years with the pool. It's like a chemistry project, right? I mean, I think after I think I've had the pool for 7-8 years. I want to knock on wood here. I think I figured it out. So, there's some hope there. I don't know if was I chasing the infamous pool leak last time
No, the last time we had talked, you were, trying to make it not look so rainbow bright.
Right.
It was all green and purple and weird.
Yeah, it's again a chemistry. But so for a year, I chased this leak that didn't exist, and Nate, it got so bad that I think I've got a disorder, and I think it's not diagnosed. There's a name for it, and it has to do with these fears of your pool. But it got so bad, I went out and bought a $1,400 leak detection kit. And I thought when I didn't find a leak, it was just evaporation, because you can lose, depending on the weather, 3/4 of an inch of water a day. And that's common. Yeah. And that's happening that particular year. I thought Renee was going to kill me. She almost made me put out an ad on the Facebook, basically saying, pool leak ? I'm your man. So what's funny is I've got the leak detection kit in my garage today, and I'm actually going on a mission trip to Kentucky next week, and I'm taking it with me because they've got like a 100,000 gallon pool that has a leak. So they want me to see if I can't find it.
Are you sure it's not just evaporation?
That's what I'm going to ask the guy. Hey, how much, I've become a pool expert when it comes to leaks. So
nice. Well, I think that's hilarious that you were chasing this leak that didn't exist. That's one of the funniest things I've heard in a while.
Yeah, well, don't bring it up around Renee because she still don't think it's funny.
Yes, man, the weather's been nice. We've been over to my aunt and uncle's pool a few times, and my daughter, jumping off the diving board now and learning to swim in the deep end all by herself, and it's exciting, man. Nothing's better. I feel like last year we didn't have very good pool weather. It didn't. Right. I don't know. It either rained or it never got above 83 degrees. But we've had a couple days where it's been in the 90s, and it's nice to sit out by the pool and get hot and jump in and dunk the kids.
Saturday. Saturday. It was kind of hot and sweaty before it rained. I literally took my shoes and shirt off, and I jumped in with.
Whoa! This isn't Average Joe's After Dark, dude. Keep your clothes on.
I still had pants on. Yeah, I still had my pants on, so I'm good. We're still family friendly.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was nice, and then the rain poured, and it got nasty. So.
Nice. What I wanted to ask you about this. What do you think about Kentucky passing the law where they would no longer require any permits or training to carry their gun? I'm a huge fan. Because you're, for those who don't know, Merle trains and teaches the courses for these things, and he's not very knowledgeable in firearms, and I kind of wanted to get his opinion on this.
So, it's definitely going to cut into, and I suspect that Ohio would do the same soon. Hopefully across the states we'll have or at the federal level, a constitutional carry law where it's not required to have training. Again, you're right. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Second Amendment. I think everybody has a right to carry a gun. The fact that they force you to go get a license, which is not cheap, Nate. I mean, in Ohio now, the going rate's between $60 and $90 for I think it's a 10, 12-hour class, and it takes roughly a day or two to do it. A lot of people can't do that. If you got kids, you got to do childcare. So, I mean, there's a lot of people who can't afford it. I mean, you got to drive there. I think it's a great thing. And people are like, oh, well, you have to have a license to drive a car. To me, that's apples and oranges, because as you know, the Second Amendment was put there in order to keep a tyrannical government in check. It wasn't so you could hunt. Right. I mean, it had nothing to do with hunting. It all has to do with, a government and your ability to stand up to that government when they start, when you get fed up with them trampling all over, walking all over your rights. So I think it's a great thing. Now, we've said this before, Nate, with freedom comes great responsibility. And I would urge anybody who carries a firearm to get training and constantly train, right? I mean, you can lose that proficiency with a firearm. I mean, so I'm constantly trained. I just went to a class 2 weeks ago with one of my favorite guys. His name's John Lovell. He founded the Warrior Poet Society, a good Christian guy, ex-Ranger. I had to travel to Minerva, Ohio. You talk about God's country. I mean, that's America right there, those people. God bless them. But it's 4 hours, and loved every minute of it. And I continue to train. But I mean, the fact that the government tells you have to have a license. I mean, the amendments aren't there to say these are your rights. They just happen to be, they named the rights, right? Because our founding fathers said, hey, you have inalienable rights given to you by God, our creator, not man. Because what man gives you, they can take away. So, I mean, I'm a huge fan, and I hope that, again, on a federal level, we do constitutional carry. So, people are afforded the ability to protect themselves, right? I mean, if you don't want to carry a gun, that's cool. And, all these people, they think, oh, it's going to be the wild, wild west. I mean, Ohio's had their concealed carry law for, 10 years now. And, I mean, 0.0002% of the people who are licensed to carry a concealed firearm, get in trouble. It just doesn't happen. I mean, law-abiding citizens, obey the law, right? I mean, that's just what they do.
And that's, that's what somebody said some years ago that always stuck with. They said that a license is, the government selling your right back to you. Mm-hmm. And, we have the right to freely travel throughout this country. So, the automobile wasn't created back then. So, should you have to, why do I have to pay, money every year? Why do I have to do this just to be able to drive my car? Now, I understand traffic laws, I'm not fully against it, but it just goes to show your license is, a fishing license, a gun license, a license to build a contracting license. All these different licenses is just the state's way to get a little bit of more money. And the gas tax just went into effect, and I see all these people saying, oh, it's going to help with the roads. Okay, man.
It's not going to make its way, right? Yeah. It's not going to make its way to all the roads, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not. And it's going to make its way to some lunch tables and some pockets and some, vacation houses. And, and I've thought about getting into politics so that I can ruin people's lives. It just seems very fun. No, but I think that, like you said, if you're going to carry a firearm, you need to be proficient with it. You need to understand what you're using, and you need to understand that you're carrying something that could take someone's life.
That's right.
And your life. A lot of firearms, people shoot themselves, and gun safety is a key point. I don't need the government to tell me to, hey, be safe. I know that myself. And these people who want to just carry a gun without, I don't see a lot of that happening. I think if you're going to carry a gun in public, then you clearly know how to disassemble it, clean it, maintain it. You practice, you stay, consistent with it. And, you do that because when you get in a time that, God forbid that you ever have to use it, that it's just second nature, and bam, I know what to do, and I'm going to defend myself and my family, or not defend a stranger's life.
Right.
So I don't have any problem with it. I think that it's good. I just continue to hope that people, keep doing the right things, and like you said, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yep. Yeah, and you got to remember, I mean, every time that bullet leaves the muzzle of that gun, I mean, there's a lawyer attached to it. So
right.
If you decide not to get training, just be prepared to reap the consequences, because it could be bad.
That's what you need to do. You need to open one of those gun courses, like you've seen Keanu Reeves do for like John Wick, where he's running through the obstacle course and shooting the different weapons, and
right.
you need to open up one of those and start doing that. That would be so great.
Yeah, I would make $1 million, but yeah, I don't think there's a lot of reality to what they're preaching there.
No, there isn't, but there's also not a lot of reality to pool leaks.
That's true. Pool leaks do exist, but not in my pool.
Well, I was going to say, you could buy 15 gun licenses or one leak detector.
Yes, leak detection kits are not cheap. And if anyone out there is interested in starting their own leak detection business, contact me. I'll make you a deal on a leak detection kit once I get back from Kentucky. Yeah, it's capitalism, right? That's the greatest right here. Using
there you go. Yes, sir. You can use the Facebook Marketplace thing.
Facebook. You know what's you bring up the Facebook? My mom asked me after Trump got elected. She heard that he was on there. Here she comes. I got to quit talking about her. But she called it. She goes, "Hey, can you get me on the Twitter?" I'm like, "The Twitter? Nope. You're staying on the Facebook, brother."
Yeah, no, I can tell you that we are discussing Miss Beverly, I'm assuming.
No, this is my mother.
Oh, your mother. Oh, okay, yeah. I don't recommend Twitter for the baby boomers. I just don't think it'll work well.
Yeah, it's not good. That's why I told her stay off the Twitter, mother. Stay off the Twitter.
Just stay on the Facebook, and you'll get all your news there.
That's right. Yes, all the disgruntled 30-year-olds in their mother's basement in their underwear. Just get all that they have to say. You'll be fine. Everything will be just great. She walked in and she walked out. So I was trying to keep her off camera. I'm like, hey, you probably don't want to go here.
Stay off camera. Stay off camera. Let's see, man. What else has been going on? Any good movies you've seen lately?
You know what I watched the other night? I think it was from 1972. I've gotten into musicals. I mean, again, we talked about this, right? I'm a dad. I'm emotional. Yeah. And The Greatest Showman, I think, is one of the best movies in the world. But my brother, who's a historian, he's a history major, he's like, hey, we really need to watch this. In 1972, I believe, a musical come out, and this is the 4th of July, and it was called 1776. And we sit here and watched it, and I fell in love with the movie. You should check it out.
It's called 1776?
1776. Yes. Okay. Hilarious. It is funny. I mean, they got zingers, and they talk about, Congress and these congressmen and how bad they are. And it was, John Adams and Jefferson and the whole crew. I mean, and it uses history, of course. It's about, their, Jefferson writing the Declaration of Independence. So, yeah, check it out. It's a good movie. But the newer, I mean, and that's not so new, The Greatest Showman. Have you seen that yet?
No, I have not.
What?
Is it good?
You got to watch The Greatest Showman. It is about Barnum from the circus, Barnum and Bailey. Yeah.
Who's a lead actor in that?
It's the guy who played the guy with what's his name? He played Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
Hugh Jackman.
I've heard he does a great job in it.
He does. I mean, all the people who star in it, and that one young kid, I forgot his name. He's pretty popular. He's in it. Zendaya, which is someone my daughter likes. She's in it. There's a couple big names, but I mean the whole crew and the story. And I guess there is, they took, some artistic liberties, but I guess there's some truth in the story, and it's just pretty amazing. I fell in love. This is funny. I play the soundtrack almost every day when I go into work.
Nice.
At my dad.
Yeah, I will have to check that out because I love, singing and musicals and even, just history in general. And that the whole circus scene. I mean, how crazy and weird was that? Right. They used to travel around the country with, giant exotic animals. And they, the TV show, The Blacklist. Have you ever seen that?
I have not.
It's pretty good. But the criminal, Raymond Reddington, he hires a circus organizer to be his logistics for running drugs and guns, because a person who organizes a circus, he has to know how to move elephants and tigers and all these different things, overnight, and they got to be a logistics master. So he ends up hiring this circus, logistics guy to run his drug and gun empire that he's, running in the underworld. I was like, man, that is kind of crazy. The fact that these circuses just, especially back in the day when they had trains, just from town to town, and the idea of a circus, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know how much truth this is, but apparently, when Barnum started his circus, he was in a building in New York and it burnt down. So he really didn't have the money to rebuild. And that's when he got the idea, land is so expensive. Let's just go down by the docks and throw tents. So I don't know how much truth that is. I mean, but I mean, it makes sense. I mean, land and buildings are expensive. Let's throw up some tents and, see what happens. So you got to go see it though. I mean, make that, since you're off this week, make that a point.
Yes, I will.
I mean, it's kid friendly.
I will go. Well, I will go check that out. Definitely. I went and saw Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I've seen Aladdin, me and my daughter, we go see, movies the weekend they come out. So pretty excited for Lion King. That's coming out.
Yes, one of my favorite
weeks, I believe. So yeah, man, I thought Aladdin was good. I thought Dumbo was really good. The remake of Dumbo was awesome.
I heard Dumbo was still kind of dark.
Well, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. I don't think it was dark. It's got some real life scenarios. But it's not like, Dumbo's not, running a sex shop or anything, dude. I mean, gosh, bro, dude, you're getting kind of adult on this.
Dumbo's not selling weed outside the
dude. They're not there hustling meth to the animals and stuff.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
So no, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. But let's see what other. I haven't seen really anything else. But yeah, I'm kind of getting back into the movie scene. When you got a young child,
right?
That's kind of a thing to do forever. I didn't go to the movies for probably like 6 or 7 years, and then once your child is old enough, and you find yourself at the movie theater a little bit more often.
Right.
And I forgot about the joy of going to the movies. Just a nice. A good thing of popcorn with a lot of butter and a blue raspberry icy. They have these new reclining leather seats, and man, it's just America's great. Just another point that
right.
I can sit there and shove food down my throat and comfort and air conditioning.
Yeah, and they have some of the seats have heat in them now. Did you see that?
Yes. Yeah.
Man, it's crazy.
That's why sometimes I go, I wear my Speedo to the movie just because of that.
That's average Joe's after dark. Right there. Well, you know what? Renee actually just took the girl to her first drive-in movie a couple weeks ago to show her how we grew up watching movies, because we couldn't afford to go to the movies, right? We could only pay by the carload. So we would shove everybody in the car.
That's right. Get 13 people in the car.
Right. Apparently now capitalism has caught up to the drive-ins, if there is one, and now you do pay per person. It's just not as much. So it's not by the carload, because we used to, when we were in high school, we'd try to sneak people in the trunk, even though we were paying for the carload. I don't understand that. I just thought about that the other day. I'm like, why did we hide people in the trunk?
It makes it more suspenseful.
It does. Yeah, I guess we felt like rebels, right? Oh, yeah, we're tough.
Did you the only drive-in I know is that one up on Dixie. Is that the one they went to?
I think so. I think that's it.
Do you remember the Belmont Drive-In down on County Line in Patterson?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Matter of fact, me and Renee, that's where we'd go and make out. Just so you know.
There you go. Okay. Average Joe's after.
Yeah. We'll talk about that Friday night after 8 p.m.
All right, we're gonna have to get her on as a guest to come in.
Oh no, Lord, she'll kill me.
Man, I remember going to the Belmont Drive-In, and man, I was 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. I don't know when they tore that thing down, but yeah, whenever I drive by that building now, every time I come down Patterson from Dayton, I look over and I'm like, man, I remember.
Is that the Wilco building or Wilcox building or something like that?
Yeah, I forget. I don't know. Some cool new building with blue glass.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a little different now growing up. We used to have movie theaters in our neighborhood. How weird was that?
I know, right? Yeah.
That's crazy. You would have, a movie theater in the middle of a neighborhood, and that's where everybody went. And now, you got to go to the mall or you got to go
Right.
wherever to see it. And it's
Right.
just, man, it's just it's crazy.
I know. Right. It is. It's nutty.
Yes, sir.
Now you don't have to leave your house, right? You just stream it, whatever you want.
Yeah, that's another perk about the internet. I can just sit here and shove Doritos down my throat and watch Netflix and Hulu and all that.
Right.
And even just illegal websites, which we'll get into that later.
Right. After dark. After dark.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's fun. Well, Nate, we've been on here for 51 minutes. We've actually had a couple people watching. I've been trying to get them to comment, but nobody wants to comment. I mean, Devin actually, is that one of your buddies? Devin, Pfeiffer?
I don't know, man. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have like 3 people I know now.
Devin's been following us for quite some time, so I don't know if he's still out there.
Shout out Devin. Good looking out, Devin. Come in here and comment next time, my man.
I know, right? He did. He came in and gave us a couple hand claps, and
I saw the little hand clap. I like that.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to, get him to ask you a question or make a comment. So
don't be afraid. Ask me anything. I love, going down rabbit holes of discussions. It's whatever. Do I have a microwave? My thoughts on, 16th century art.
Right.
I can bullcrap my way through anything.
Right. And I sent John what's our label for him? The unlabeler. NA. Yeah, don't label me John. Oh, here we go. So it says, this is a long one. How can I?
There we go.
Whenever y'all want to tackle the subject, how does a libertarian morally justify defending a female with pro-choice from the state, telling her what and what not to do with her body for the whole pro-choice versus pro-life argument? Me personally, I don't agree with taking a life, but I also don't agree with the state telling someone what they can or cannot do with their body.
Gosh, well, we can tackle this one just kind of real quick, and then we'll get into it, a later time when John's here to kind of talk about it. And, maybe we can, we'll do a little bit of research on this. So thank you for the comment. I kind of fall back on my initial comment where, you can do whatever you want as long as you are not causing harm to another person. I think that, once, your baby's growing inside you, that's another human being. So, I'm kind of, Ron Paul said something during the debates when everybody was talking about, the, birth control and, the morning after pill. Well, the morning after pill is just it's birth control. So, people will say, oh, I take birth control, but I would never take the morning after pill. Okay, well, you do take it. You just take it on a schedule. So I don't know when, I think the heartbeat law is a pretty good idea of when we should probably start looking to protect that life. Once, a new human being is here. I'm pro-life. I think we should figure out ways to, make it easier for, women who are pregnant. That can be a scary thing. And especially if you get knocked up by some guy you don't know. And then you kind of, I can understand the fear in there. But we as a society need to be better as far as making it, giving more pathways to success. Adoption is, it costs so much money, man, $15,000, $20,000 to love a child. And I think, that could be, we should lower that a whole lot. If someone wants to take care of another human being, I have no idea why that's so expensive. So when it comes down to, the state telling a woman what she can do and what she can't do with her body, I kind of understand both views, but I like to err on the side of life. I think that, old W. Bush said that once in a debate. I think we should caution and we should err on the side of life. What I would like to see is people be more responsible and, with their, having sex, it's great. It's awesome, but, be responsible and try and take precautions so that you don't put yourself in that position. So I don't know. It's kind of it's such a hot button issue that as soon as you bring it up and start discussing it, man, people just
Right.
jump on both sides. And,
I think in 50, 100 years, I mean, I don't think it's going to be debatable because, and I think like you said, I like to err on the side of caution because I truly believe that life starts at conception, and whether or not that's true, I still would rather err on the side of caution because that life has rights, and when it starts, we really don't know. And I struggle all the time. What about rape and incest? I just can't imagine if my daughter or my wife was raped. I mean, could I say the same thing? I don't think I could, but that I'm with you. I mean, I'm all about life. I love life, and I think you're right. We need to look at ways to prevent it, right? I mean, kids are going to have sex, right? I mean,
right.
So why not my personal opinion is, maybe offering them birth control early on, when they're sexually active isn't such a bad thing. Making sure they understand that, hey, okay, you might not have a baby, but man, you might get a heck of a venereal disease like the clap or VD.
Right,
and
right.
It's not fun.
Yeah, throughout human history, that's what people do is they have sex. So, teaching abstinence, although sounds really good and sounds responsible, at the end of the day, it's, especially teenagers, man, you get them alone and they, those teenage moments are rolling strong, and that's what happens. It's always happened. It's always going to happen.
Yep. You get a little Barry White going and you never know what's going to happen.
Son, you talk about average Joes in the middle of the afternoon. Yeah, man. So I think it's always good to err on the side of life. And people bring up the rape and the incest and that stuff. That's a very, 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 very small percentage of.
Mm-hmm.
I think Florida, because Florida actually keeps stats on these things, and I think that they said that less than 1% of the abortions that they did in 2017 were due to rape or incest. So I think that we as a society should be better. Don't use it as a form of birth control, because that's just, man, that just breaks my heart. I understand, abortion is a medical term. So, if a mother is about to lose her life and you got to choose between the baby and the mother, it's called an abortion. So, we gotta use our right terms. Abortion isn't, it's not the worst thing when you can save the mother's life. And that's something that I guess the mother and father would decide. But it's just, I don't know, it's such a hot button issue that it's hard to have a reasonable conversation with people about it. And I think especially today, man, people just have their minds made up on so many different issues that it's hard to kind of keep your mind open. And, I was thinking about this the other day, Merle. When's the last time that you had your mind changed about something?
Probably when you and I met and you turned me into a libertarian.
That's been years ago.
I know. A long time ago.
Yeah, man. And that's kind of like, it's, we get set in our ways and we kind of think we know everything. And, having an open mind can be dangerous because you can be easily manipulated, but you also need to have an open mind and hear what other people's struggles and other things that they've gone through, because, they have a different story than you. So, you might not think of it that way until you meet somebody who's been down that road. So I think, having compassion and trying to listen to people. But again, not everybody should be able to talk. We have a lot of dummies out there. And
right.
You're looking at one right now. So,
hey, don't talk about me like that.
So yeah, man, I think, just kind of, it's such a hotbed issue that it's hard to discuss. I always err on the side of life and, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yep. The golden rule.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Cool.
But good looking out, Devin. Well, I'm gonna look into that more and try and give some better insight and kind of different points of view next time we get together.
There we go. Well, there's the music, because it's been an hour and nobody's going to watch an hour of you and I bantering. So
they will eventually after dark.
After dark. Yeah. We'll have all 89. I think we got like 90 members in Average Joe's probably on the After Dark. Now we've got you. Devin we're fans of Devin because he's stuck in here the whole time. Devin,
good looking out, Devin.
Average Joe's, and if you ever want to come on live, let me know sometime if you got a mic and a camera, and we'll have a guest.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's always good to have more ideas and more views.
Right, and I tried to get John Hinahan the unlabeler, but apparently he's not checking his he's not checking his IMs, so he'll catch this, and I'm sure he'll have some piffy comments to add to this discussion below the video, which will be it'll be available after we're done live. So
yes. Thanks for kind of joining in, Devin. Good looking out, my man. We'll go from here, and we're going to get better, and we're going to get a little bit more professional. We'll have some it won't be, just kind of fly by the waist, but, we did good. Just kind of like hey, Burl, let's get together and do something. So I think it went well. I can't believe it's been an hour already. So
I know, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, time flies when you're just kind of bullcrapping.
Yeah, right. And we do have a mystery person out there watching live right now. Don't know who it is. It's probably your mother because she was on earlier.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Miss Manier.
Well, yeah, Merle, thanks for having me on, and look forward to next time. We'll get kind of a schedule down for people so that we can be a little bit more consistent, and we'll get old NA John on, and we'll tear it up, son.
Tear it up. All right. Till next time, people. See ya.